Welcome to day 4 of the Make a Song in 5 Days series. Today we are going to finally pick the sounds that we want for our instruments, and we're going to arrange the pieces that we've created so that it's a full-blown song. Alright, let's jump right in. Go ahead and open your project in FL Studio here. And go ahead and head to your channel rack. Yesterday we completed the drum section here, and this is what we're starting off with. Alright, now for this arranging video, we are going to turn all of this into an EDM track. Let's go ahead and make it happen. The first thing we're going to do is change the sound of the melody here. Now I'm just going to use the stock plugins that are in the FL Studio Producer Edition. If you did end up buying the FL Studio Producer Edition, you should be able to see these. Even if you're in the trial version, you'll be able to see these, but you won't be able to open previously saved projects. Alright, let's go ahead and right click on this piano melody here. And then we are going to go down to the replace button, and then we're going to use one of my favorite plugins called Flex. Now for an EDM track, we want something that's punchy for the melody but also has a bit of a saw sound that sounds like a dance party. Alright, and then I'm going to switch this window so it's no longer detached, and it can go behind the flex window here. Now let's see. So what I like to do for a lot of the melodies is go with a pluck sound. So this is, what am I talking about? It's plucky. Now I'm under the mobile synth pluck. This is a free pack that comes with Flex. There are some that do require additional purchase, but the only ones I'm going to be using today are the ones that are free. Now this one seems pretty dancey. Let's go ahead and keep looking here. Oh, Simplex Strong. Alright, let's go with that. And we are going to isolate it. If you remember from, I believe it was day 2, you can just press Control and then click on the instrument so you can isolate it and solo it. Nice. All right. Let's go ahead and return the rest of these instruments here. We have got something going here. All right. Now let's go ahead and deal with these piano chords here. See what we can do to make them a little more interesting. Let's go to, again, right click, replace, and let's see if we can get a hypersaw going here. Let's go to this Citrus, S-Y-T-R-U-S. Let's go ahead and click that. It should be pretty orange over here. Now let's go ahead and click the presets button. This is where the plugin, or the instrument generator in this case, will show all of the pre-made sounds that are available. We can go under sequence, see what this sounds like. What's the gated hypersaw? Ooh, okay, that's fun, but a little much. Let's try this another fat saw. All right. Let's see what that sounds like. All right, that sounds really low. So what we can do to experiment more with the sounds is also experiment with the octaves, how high or how low the notes are playing. So if we just click on the green notes here, we get this piano roll here, and just do the Control plus up in order to move it up 1 octave or 8 notes. Let's hear what it sounds like. All right, what I am thinking is that another fat song should be for the melody and the simplex strung should be for the chords here. So I'm going to switch these around. I'm just going to go ahead and right click and replace. And that's the thing with picking sounds. There's a lot of experimentation involved, which is, hey, half the fun of it. All right, let's see what this sounds like now. Oh, I forgot to readjust the octaves here, so let me make sure I do that. Okay, the fat saw sound is very loud compared to everything else. So what we can do is turn this dial to adjust the volume of the individual instrument. See, now we can hear the simplex strung now. Now I don't really like the simplex strung, so I'm going to experiment a little more, and I will come back when I come up with a sound that I actually like here. All right, so I have finished looking through the rest of these sounds here, and I really like how the simplex multi is. I chose the multi sound because it's more full. It seems to have more layers to it compared to the previous option, which only seemed very few dimensional, if that makes sense. So it fills out with the saw sound a lot better. All right, awesome. Now let's go ahead and mess with the bass here. Again, right click, replace. And for the bass, let's see here. Let's go back to flex. Now we're going to want to go to the Obeyed Bass Utopia. Now there are a ton of basses here, but I'm going to pick I'm going to experiment with the Evo Devotion one. Let's hear what this one sounds like. Actually, let me test it out individually to see what it sounds like. I don't like this one because the sound does not last as long as I would like it to. I want a sound that lasts the entire length of this note rather than it just being this section like this. All right, so I'm gonna go back and reevaluate the options here. If we want to try picking another sound that's within the same plugin, in other words, instrument and generator, we don't have to do the right click and replace and go through all of this. Instead, we can just left click it and it pulls back up the plugin that we're currently using. Okay, this future slap is staying held, and I'm not messing with any of the additional knobs at this point. That is most definitely a more advanced topic. Right now, we're just trying to pick some cool sounds. Okay, this bass is a little too low. We want it to be up a little closer to the chords. I'll show you what it sounds like here. Let's do that. It's not really melding together well. So let's see if we can bring up the bass here. See what it sounds like. Oh yeah. Can you hear how the chords and the bass sound more like they're working together compared to when they were an octave lower where they seemed completely separated? That's the goal when I'm trying to pick a chord sound and a bass together. Now let's hear what it sounds like with all of the instruments so far. And this clap is really loud, so I'm just going to bring that down so I can hear the rest of the instruments here. All right, we have a basic EDM song going here. Let's try messing with a few of the drum sounds here. Now, let's go back and open your browser if it's not already open. Now, go to the pack section. It's around the My Projects and the Project Bones sections here. Go ahead and open that. And since we're going to try to find a different kick that fits a little better with EDM vibes, something that's a little more punchy, let's go under the kick section. And now I'm just gonna click and try to experiment and find one I like. Let's see what the FPC1 kick sounds like. That's okay. See what this G groove kick. Oh. Ooh, that who dat kick. All right, I can't quite hear the kick that much right now, but we can go ahead and fix that a little later in day 5 when we go over the mixing portion. Now, let's go ahead and adjust this clap here. So we're gonna stay in the browser. Oh, claps, where are you? We've got drums and drums mode audio. I'm not sure what the difference is, but okay, let's go with House Gen Clap 1. Okay, and then let's go ahead and mess with the hi-hats here. Let's go down here. Ooh, this one's fun. It's Attack Hat 3. Collider 5th. Oh, hat. Yeah, that's too high pitched. This is a very simple track here. Usually, when it comes to EDM and a lot of other songs as well, there would be multiple layers. So, like with the chords, we can go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and right click on the Simpluck Multi, and then we're just gonna clone it. And then we're gonna try to find another sound that works well with it. Maybe we can go to the pianos. Let's see how that sounds. Let's go ahead and select, we want to get these chords and copy them down to the stage grand here that we just selected. So we're just going to Control C on this rectangle, and then we're going to Control V to paste it here. Notice how it gives it a little more dimension. Now we are going to do a similar thing with the melody here, except I'm going to look for a more plucky sound that hits right away to give the melody a little more punch. Do the same thing here. Let's clone it. So I'm going to go into Flex to find a pluck, pretty much in the same spots under Mobile Synth Pluck. All right, and again, just copy from the rectangle next to another fat saw, and then paste it with Sim Pluck Classic. Let's hear how it sounds. Now, let's bring that down an octave. So I just open the piano roll, Control down to bring it down one octave. And what I'm going to do here, do you hear that repeating at the end? Where it goes, I want to get rid of that because it's kind of getting in the way of the chords and the melody here. So all I'm going to do, I'm not going to go into detail about what exactly all this does. I'm just going to turn this off, turn off the delay, and now hear how it sounds. So now it's just one shot instead of it going instead of it repeating. Let's hear how it sounds all together. Perfect. Now we are going to do the exact same thing with the bass, but for the bass, I want to make the song a little fuller. So I want a bass that's going to wobble a little bit, if that makes sense. Notice how it's very closed in. I'm looking for something that's to go with it, that's opened up a little bit so that it'll fill the space in between this and then also the chords here. So that tone between the chords and the bass, I want something in the middle of that to almost be like a bridge here. So again, right click, we're going to clone this. I'm going to just select both of these and turn those on. I'm still in the old bass utopia. I want something that's more like a saw. The saw is the main sound I think of when I think of dance. So fat saw, this, like something that open, but lower. Okay. Iris, sun, or jigsaw noise. We can try both of those and see how that works. We'll just copy the feature slap, piano roll information, and then paste it in the Iris sun. Okay, and then how the Iris sun sounds alone. And then just the feature slap. Okay. Okay, I like that so far. I still would like to try to hear what the jigsaw noise sounds like. So I'm just going to go back to flex here since it's still open and just click jigsaw noise. Notice that the name changes inside the channel rack here too. And actually, let's see if we bring it up an octave. No. Okay, I'm going to do some experimenting with the octaves too. Okay, I like the Iris Sun better, so we're going to go back there. Right, and then here's what we have so far. Okay, and then the final segment of an EDM track is known as the sub-bass, which is a very, very low frequency bass, which I can barely hear with my own ears, but I can more feel it. I think that's what really gives the additional punch when it comes to the bass side. So what I'm going to do here is clone this, the Iris Sun, and then I'm also going to right click and replace it with Citrus, because Citrus has a sub-bass preset that I am already familiar with. So I use sub-bass, the regular sub-bass here. And then again, copy and then paste. For the sub-bass, we want it really low. I think that might be too low. Okay, let's turn that back on. Let's put it with the other basses here first. That's without the sub-bass. And this is with. Very subtle, but it does make a difference. Okay, and then one more thing I'm going to do is actually boost the tempo / the speed of this quite a bit here. So I'm gonna move this up to like 139. Let's see how it is. We finally got the bare bones and we've picked the instruments, and we've added even a few more to help layer it out. With that, we are going to continue on and begin arranging this. So before we do that, I want to organize and color code this. So what I'm just going to do is rename all of these to their general instrument name. Like this would be a kick, clap, hi-hat, synth chord, piano chord, things like that. I'll just go down the list. In order to rename and also recolor, I'm just gonna middle mouse click, rename it here, and then you can press this trapezoid and then change the color. Boom, and then press enter. And if you don't have the middle mouse wheel, you can right click and then go to rename color and icon. You have the same functionality there. All right, perfect. Here is the new look. We're going to close the channel rack. Close that out, close out flex here. And now we're going to get all of these instruments that we have set up to show up over here. So what we're gonna do is see this pattern 1 right here. Just right click, and then we're going to hit split by channel. And what that did was take all of the instruments that we put inside of pattern 1 per se, and separate them. So we can place them or replace them and put them together with each other or without each other as we continue on. So now when we open the channel rack for each one of these, you see that the clap has its own isolated section. The melody, same thing, and that's the same with all of the instruments here. I think that's very useful. Now, what I'm going to do next is place the kick, place all of the instruments in their own separate track here. So all of these tracks, when I say tracks, going forward right now, it means the lines here. So I want to get each one of these instruments on their own separate line. And in order to do that, I'm just gonna click on the instrument I want, and then I'm just going to, making sure that the paintbrush is selected here, I'm just going to left click onto where I want it. So left click on synth chords, and then left click on measure 1 where track 4 is. Just keep doing that. And then the tom, it's at the bottom, but what I'm gonna do, since I want to put one line in between the kick and the clap, I'm going to right click and click insert 1, and then click the tom, and then paste it, then click it on measure 1 here. And we're not quite done yet with the organization, but this part is very satisfying. So just, the playlist has a similar situation with the rectangles. Between the track name and number and the playlist line, there are these gray rectangles that turn green when you click or select them. So I'm going to left click on track 1, and then I'm just going to drag on all of these so that all of these are green, and then on track 1 I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to click auto name. Boom. Now we can I don't know how to get rid of that. Now we can just click that. See how the colors now line up with the lines for each one of these instruments here. This is how I like to work, and it has shown to be the most organized for me when I start to arrange. Let's talk about what exactly arranging is. Arranging is, for our purposes, putting instruments together within a song so that it sounds good and that it has a structure. So if you've noticed that a lot of songs have a typical structure of intro, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, we can call that the arrangement of the song. Let's go ahead and delete all of these here, and we'll go ahead and start with the intro. So with the intro, I just want the piano chords to play, so I'm just going to click the piano chords, go to its designated track here, and then click there, and then I'm going to click the top bar where it shows the measure numbers. If you noticed, it switched me from pattern mode to song mode. This means it's going to be playing directly out of the playlist rather than when we were in pattern mode, it coming from directly from the channel rack. If we try playing in pattern mode right now, you'll hear the piano chords. Actually, hold on, let me try that again. Let's add, for this really quick, let's add piano chords and then the melody saw. If we want to play it from the pattern and we have the melody saw pattern selected, we can only hear the melody. But if we go ahead and click the song mode, we can hear the chords and the melody at the same time. So we can X out of that. I just want the piano chords here. And then I want that to play twice. And then let's add the, let's see what the pluck sounds like here. The melody pluck by itself. No, the pluck needs the saw. And then, now for most of these, I like doing 8-bar increments. For the intro here, I have 2 sets of bars for the piano chords. That helps to, there's this feeling, there's a feeling that where it naturally needs to repeat to be complete, if that makes sense. So each one of these covers 4 bars. So I just have 2 of these piano chords in here that encompass the intro. And now we'll go into the verse, the melody saw, and we'll again do the same thing here. And do it in 2. I want this to repeat 2 more bars, and then add some more instruments on top of it. What I'm going to do is hold Control and then left click and drag so that it selects both of these here. Then, in order for it to duplicate, I am going to press Control B, and it jumps to the next opening spot over here. And you can do this multiple times if you want. We're just going to start with this. I like to try arranging it in order, at least to get the first half of it down. Now here, I think I want to start adding a clap. So I'm going to put a clap within these next 2. Now I'm not sure why the clap is giving me double, so I'm going to pull back up the channel rack. I'm going to actually click the clap button here. Now this is going to be a new screen. This is what pops up when you're using a sample, a piece of an instrument or something that's already pre-recorded rather than an actual instrument plugin. Like if we were to click on the melody plug, we see that flex, the actual plugin comes up. But when we click the clap, we see this screen. So let's see. What I'm going to do is do this SMP start to kind of get rid of this bumpy thingy over here. Let's see how it sounds. I'm going to add the chorus part here, in EDM terms known as the drop. I'm just going to simplify this song so it's not overly complicated. So I'm going to add in almost all the instruments here. So all the synths, well, both the synths, both the melodies, and then all 3 basses. I'm gonna line them up with their proper lines here, just so that I stay organized, because if I'm not organized, I go a little nuts. So clap, and I want the clap to repeat here. I want the tom. Well, actually, you know what? I'm gonna leave the tom off. So I have everything on here except for the tom and the hi-hat. Here's what it sounds like. All right, that's great. So now I want to copy and paste this chorus / drop so that it repeats again. So again, I'm going to Control, click and drag and go up and to the left. So I select all 8 of these measures here. Then I'm just going to hit Control B, and boom, we've got it repeating. Now, in order to up the intensity a little bit, I'm going to add my hi-hats in this section, and then I'm also going to add my tom in here. All right, let's hear what the whole drop / chorus sounds like all together. Okay, so I don't like how this hi-hat is working right now, so I am going to reopen the channel rack. If you double click on the playlist, oftentimes I find that the piano roll comes up, which is useful for certain things. Other times I just have to manually open the channel rack. Maybe I might need to, switch these around so that it's the 2 and 4. So I'm going to save this one down here so I don't lose my spot. Okay, we're just going to do this and see how it sounds. No, okay. Good thing I didn't go through the entire thing. Okay. All right, maybe it's the sound. So I'm going to check out some other hi-hats that we have available in our samples here in the browser. Let's go to hi-hats. Let's see if this attack O-hat will work. Okay, let's try maybe going halftime in this. Let's go, instead of doing the 2 steps, let's try 4 steps and see how that sounds. Okay, that sounds decent. However, I feel like I still want one more in the middle here to kind of syncopate with that. So what I'm going to do, again, right click, clone, and then I'm going to find a different hat that will go with that. So let's do this one. And then I'm going to put it on the 3s in here. So the first hat is on the 1s. This one is going to be on the 3s, in the gray and the red sections. Okay, that is sounding much better. Let me see if I can push my luck and find a hi-hat I like a little better for the second one that's going on the 3s. If not, then we'll just leave it with that. See what this swamp one is like. Oh, maybe we might have luck if we do this one on every 2. Oh, okay, all right, we're getting somewhere. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is rename this. From what I have learned, this one, it says O-hat, which stands for open hat, which typically has a longer playtime compared to this C-hat, which stands for a closed hat. It's short. This one's long, short. All right, let me rename this to an open hat, and then we want this closed hat. Now, I did both of these under the hi-hat section, which is perfectly fine. So what I'm going to do is close out of the channel rack, and in order to separate the hi-hats that are in this pattern, I'm just going to right click, split by channel, Now it shows up as hi-hat, open hat, hi-hat, closed hat. I prefer to just have it as open hat and closed hat, so we'll rename this like we do it in the channel rack and just get rid of the hi-hat and the dash. Boom. Now I'm going to right click and click insert one. And now when I separated and split these two tracks, now both the open and the closed hat are just on the hi-hat track. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull the closed hat to the new track I just created here. I'm going to click and to select both of these tracks here, the gray rectangles, right click, and then click auto name. And boom, our playlist is updated with the new information. Nice, we have the first half of our song going. All we need now is to just copy and paste this and then make little changes to the rest of the song here. So we'll just go through that step by step here. So control and select like we have in the past, except we're just gonna select from the beginning to everything we have so far. And again, press Control B, and boom, it lines up. Let me make sure I did this right. I did, okay. So now we have identical situations here. And as a note, the zooming capabilities are the same as the piano roll. So this little line up top, you can squish or unsquish for zooming and non-zooming in. And then to see the different parts of the playlist, you can drag this at the top, this rectangle at the top. Then in order to move down, you can just move the scroll wheel like you're on a web browser. And then in order to move left or right, you can either use your arrow keys, or you can use your middle mouse wheel. Click in your middle mouse wheel, my personal favorite, and then scooch left or right. Alrighty, now let's hear what it sounds like after the drop here. Okay, that's all right, but I want it to be a little more interesting than the initial verse here where we didn't have any drums. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the kick and the tom in here, leave that going. And then do that for all 4 of these, but take it out when the clap happens, when the clap starts. I still don't like that kick. Actually, no, I don't like that. So we're just gonna leave the kick in. I don't know, let's try the open hat. And you know what? In order to spice it up a little more, I'm going to put the simple bass. Let's see here. I'm gonna keep it going. I'm gonna give it 4 beats and then see how that sounds. You know what? Let's see if it have the wide sounds. And I also want to bring the melody back out. 1. know what? Let's bring the clap in too. Maybe we can try this pluck again. The regular pluck instead of the synth, the super soft. Actually, let's try getting rid of these. Okay, I need something that comes in after these two here. My thought process behind it is I want to slowly introduce more instruments. So it starts off low from the intro, and between the intro and the drop is the build-up here. So the build-up hypes up for the drop here. So low and then medium and then high as you go from the intro, the verse into the build-up, and then the drop. The drop's going to be the highest point. Now I want to bring it down a little bit back to the verse, so it cools people down a little bit and gives more room for another rising point. It's not a rising point. That's a rising point. For another rising point to go this way, like when the build up and the drop happens again. Okay, I'm gonna try switching this kick again. I don't like it. Okay, I don't know if I've looked through the mode audio. Let's see if they have any in here. I've been looking in here. Oh, here we go. Okay, I like that one. That one seems, it's more punchy and sharp. There it is. Okay, I used an attack kick. 28, yeah. And I'm gonna add the actual saw part when the build-up happens. Let's see if yeah, no, the pluck still needs to be here. Let's try adding a little bit of closed hat here. Let's see if we can add the chords to it. Maybe even the tones a little bit. No, the tones don't sound good without the kick. And as a side note, I'm leaving the kick out of the build-ups so it hits harder once the drop hits. The final thing I'm going to add here for the arrangement is the, what do you call it? Is an outro to kind of ease listeners out of the song. So I don't want to shock listeners by abruptly ending the song, especially if it's not intentional. So I keep some of the instruments and maybe a few of the drums in here, and then eventually it fades out. So let's go ahead and experiment with that. I'd like to let's keep the wide bass in here. And let's keep the synth chord. No. And this, it just takes trial and error and a lot of experimentation. And that's kind of the fun part of it, in my opinion. Okay, let's see. pluck or not? So I've decided to leave out the sub bass, the drums, and then the synth chords. So we've only got the piano chords, both melodies. In EDM, a melody is often called a lead, L-E-A-D. So, but I am referring to it as a melody for simplicity's sake. And I'm leaving the other two basses in here too. Now, in order to close it off on that last note for a bit of finality, I'm going to take the saw here, the melody saw. I'm going to put one right at the end. But what I'm going to do is I am going to click and then drag this and click and drag it back. So my limitation here is that I can't really drag it back without doing some crazy back and forth here. So in order to simplify it, I'm going to go up to this magnet icon here, and then I'm going to switch the snapping from the bar and go back to the 1/4 beat, and notice how more lines show up here. So now I'm going to scooch this back some. Let's see. And let's see if that's enough. You know what? I think I'm gonna do that exact same thing with the bass. Okay. So take the bass, do the exact same thing. Click it here. You might, since the snapping is more specific now, you may have to zoom in and make sure it's lining up with that thick measure line. So I'm on measure 89, and I'm just going to again drag it back here so that it ends where the saw melody ends here. Let me Control S this. Yeah, please don't forget to Control S. And then what I'm going to do, because I don't know how to get it to not go all the way straight back to the beginning, when the ending of the last pattern ends, I'm just going to click the last piano chords here and just drag it out. It's clear, it's white, or rather there's no notes in here, but what I've found is that it allows the notes to ring at the end. You know what? We're gonna bring that bass out until the end. Nice, and we'll bring out the chords one more time there. Bring it out to measure 91 just to finish it off, and give a little more time for the last part to ring. All right. Cool, let's hear our arrangement at this point. I want the plucks to be, I want the plucks here to sound the same as over here. Instead of us having the saw melody, I'm going to start with the pluck melody. But first, I'm going to switch the snapping from the magnet, go back to the bar so I don't have to keep zooming in to make sure I'm snapping correctly. Delete those, and since this is the build-up, let's keep that going. And also, side note, if you want the playlist to just keep running and follow where exactly the playhead, this line, where the song is going without you having to drag it manually, you can press this arrow here. It says scrolls to reach time markers. I'm going to zoom in just to demonstrate it. Keep an eye on this, the playhead, and the playlist. couple more things. The hats, it seems like a big jump from having no hats to having a bunch of hats. And then I also want to copy the hats from this build up and also add it to this one, because I like how that sounds. After a few more experiment situations, I decided to keep the clap going throughout the second verse here. And I also adjusted the hi-hats, the closed hi-hats, so that they're playing in both of the build-ups. And I added open hats at the first parts of the drops / choruses. All right, we're gonna play this one more time, and this will be it for this day. You've got a song. Like, we have a song here. This is incredible. Great job if you followed along. And hey, we've only got one day left. We finally took the small pieces we had and created this, how long is this? 2.5 minute song. And it's got ups and downs and it's got structure. So in order to finish off this How to Make a Song in 5 Days series, tomorrow we're going to go over mixing and exporting. So yes, congratulations. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.